Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Blocks, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner.
Hey.
We got a little bit of an off week
Hold on.
this week, so no Frisbee golfing. This is Tuesday.
You're not allowed to Frisbee golf.
You're not allowed to play disc
No.
golf this week.
That's Labor Day week. Y'all didn't know that?
Oh.
Labor Day weekend's like no Frisbee golf weekend.
Well, put me in handcuffs.
Oh,
Yeah.
frick.
I plan to. So we'll just talk about some general disc golf news. We had some fun Facebook posts that went out, a trending YouTube video, and then we'll put our TMZ hats on because it's time
I
to
say
TMZ
there's been
a
like
little.
some
hit 'em
mild
with
disc
it.
golf stuff going on.
Yeah, so
For
we're going
sure.
to mildly talk about it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna be mild.
And you know what? We might be able to get to the top 10.
I doubt it.
I did
Yeah,
also
right.
put out a prompt of like, hey, Twitter, you got any questions? And so we do have some Twitter questions too. that
Nah,
we
I
can
gotta
go
Talk
through.
to the
Not getting
Twitter
those either.
people.
But,
Gonna call it Twitter forever.
yeah.
Take that, Elon.
Elon even called it Twitter the other day.
Did he really?
Yeah, he posted a meme that said it was like about Twitter being banned in Brazil or whatever, and he posted a meme, and in the meme it called it Twitter.
I think he's
and
going
people
to.
were quote tweeting it like, "What'd you just say?
I think
What'd
he's
you just
gonna.
call it?"
I think he's
That's
gonna change
funny.
it back.
He should.
I think that's gonna be his kind of hero move. Is like it didn't work out, so the best next thing to do marketing is just change it back, and everybody adores you.
Maybe.
I feel like he kind of likes that it's called X, but everybody still calls it Twitter.
That
Like,
might-
he's just
might
like,
also
what's
be.
the point in that? Nothing.
That also feels.
There's a lot going on.
Well, let me tell you about something there is a point to. Today's episode is brought to you by Foundation Care. Did you know that every disc purchase made from FoundationDisc.com in the United States of America has Foundation Care coverage
I
included?
didn't know that.
That's
Well,
insane.
now you do. When you buy a disc from FoundationDisc.com, you have 30 days to try that disc out however you want. And then if it isn't for you, you just fill out a form on our website and exchange it for a disc you know you love. With a new disc being released basically every week at this point, don't get stuck wasting your money on a new release that you'll never throw. Use Foundation Care to make sure your money goes to filling your bag and not your shelves.
Nobody else
I came
is
up
doing
with that tagline, by the way.
That is a really
That's
fun.
great.
Fill your
I was
bag,
gonna say
not
I
your
don't
shelves.
like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's good, Hunter.
Thank you. I was
Holy
proud of that
crap.
one.
My shelves are full.
Did you go to catchphrase school?
You must not have been shopping at FoundationDisc.com.
They got filled it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I bought a disc and then I was like, this isn't as good as I thought. I'm going to buy another rock instead.
Yeah.
I need to start
exactly.
being one of those guys that has like 5 different disc golf bags that they just rotate through.
Dude,
You ever
I
seen
can't
that?
do that.
have.
I'm like in love with my disc golf bag.
could do
I can't abandon
Oh, I
it.
could.
I like playing with like I love nothing more than walking down in my basement and just making a bag. Like, I don't do it very often, but whenever I do, just being like, yeah, I'm gonna make a bag. I have so much fun being like, this distance driver I've always wanted to throw. I never tossed it yet.
The other day when I sucked on the disc golf course in a video that hasn't come out yet.
Did you go practice?
No,
I'm about
of course
to say,
not.
Don't
no,
you dare.
No. If I practice, I will let everyone know I practice. What's the point of practicing if you don't post it on Instagram?
That's true. That would be real. That would be okay. Punishment idea. Punishment idea is somebody who like loses something has to unironically and not keep people
Well,
into.
it would be ironic because it'd be a punishment, but keep going.
Well, no, we don't tell anybody about the punishment.
Oh, okay.
That's the kicker.
That is
You
tough.
have to post like getting better at disc golf, like the cheesiest. Basically, think about Ezra Aderhold throwing shirtless in a field, but we don't look like Ezra Aderhold.
But we still have to be shirtless?
Like that type of post where it's like we really act like we're grinding to
That
get on the pro
is-
tour,
that's pretty
and
cringe.
you just got to throw it out there, and you
I think-
cannot explain it.
That
I think
hurts
you have
my
to,
feelings.
I think it would be you had to make 5 fieldwork posts and you had to play 1 tournament and make a tournament recap post.
Oh gosh, dude.
My M4
Like
is
a
really
dead
flying great for me
serious one?
today.
I'm
Oh
just
my
thinking like you
gosh.
like
My
blasting
MD3
music.
really was. I was just relying on it heavily out there.
You're blasting music, throwing putts, like sweat dripping down your face, like looking dead serious in the camera, like you care. Like that would be
But
tough.
like,
That's
how would
pretty
any
cringe.
of us make it and not like?
Oh, you could. You just got to sell it. If you sell it, like
I think
there's
people.
a line.
I think people would immediately know we were
No,
joking.
and I
don't think
no,
so.
here's the thing.
I don't think
I think
so.
also
I think
in
our
your-
audience would.
I think
not if you do
also
it
in
right.
your fieldwork post, you have to say something about like I threw this far today, get in there, or something like that. Like, you have to put a distance. You have to put your max distance that you threw that day.
I got out
as
to
well.
382, getting there, making
there.
progress. Double G, watch out.
Oh, dude. Isn't it so? It's so cheesy
What
trying
was
to
I
get,
about
trying to
to
get
say?
good at disc golf, bro.
Oh,
What'd you do?
Imagine
Yeah.
practicing.
When
we just spent the last like 3 minutes making fun of practicing. disc golf.
No, not making fun of
No.
practicing.
Making
Making
fun
fun
of
of
us.
letting everyone know you're practicing.
Dude,
and also us.
it'd be so fun. I was about to say it'd be so fun if I could practice disc golf, but it wouldn't.
No.
Because then I would just get way, way, way worse and then get really like way
Yeah.
more frustrated because now I should be scoring better, but I'm not. Right now, I'm like, well, I'm not good at disc golf, so like, of course, I'm playing bad.
Yeah. So I sucked the other day, and then I literally had a thought. I was like, you know, I have my old grip bag, and I have like all my
Uh-oh.
discs from college. Like maybe I just need to go back. Like maybe I just need to get back to my roots.
Just like your Prodigy bag?
No, my old grip bag, like my old AX.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, are you
AX30?
talking about the discs or the bag?
All of it.
Just completely
Just the
revert
full
yourself.
person.
Like
now.
maybe I just need to go back to just like because I have all of those discs.
Like, what discs are we talking about? That's
Like
what I'm saying.
my
This is
old-
pre-Prodigy?
All blue.
Oh, pre-Prodigy, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd basically be a
okay.
fully end of a bag, but with PA3s. Was basically what I threw.
Yeah, shame you're tied into Banger GTs.
Yeah. I just had that
I
thought the
gotta
other
throw
day.
that away.
I was like, I wonder like how much mentality would help me if I just like looked down.
It
and
probably
like,
hurt you worse because
it was a
then
disc golf bag of when I used to be good.
stuff would fly the way
Okay.
it did, like, or didn't fly the way it did or something. Like, that would make it worse.
That's
Yeah,
a
like I
bad
realized I
feeling.
don't have power as
Yeah.
much power.
Yeah, whenever I pick
That
up
would
the
be
like,
worse.
whenever I pick up the fairway driver that used to be like the perfect hyzer flip to turn fairway driver, and like now I throw it, and it's basically a Thunderbird.
Yeah.
It really hurts my feelings.
But I just had, it was a brief thought. I didn't do it, but it was just a brief thought.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it leaned into
See,
like
you have that disadvantage because you were a really good disc golfer in college. I am better than I
Not
was
really
in
good.
college. You were, you
I
were
was
like
better,
a 980 guy. Like
I
you
was
were
better
good.
than I am now.
You're a good disc. Like
for
I was
sure.
never good in college.
That's not true.
I'm a
You were
worse.
great
I
in
was like-
practice.
I'm just saying, like I was like a 930, 940.
All your
You're a
problems,
good
are-
thrower.
All your
You're a
problems
good
are between
thrower.
your ears.
Yeah, but
Still today.
I'm just saying, like I think I'm better. I think I
Yes,
would.
dude.
I think I would beat me in college. Like I think I would be.
You
I
might,
think
maybe
I'm better.
Maybe
I'm-
I would get my cheeks clapped by myself in college.
But that's mostly, like you said, that's mostly because I just learned to not care and I'm not as much a head case.
Yeah.
I
So
would
that's
I would
really
win
it.
now, but I'm a worse thrower now, but a better scorer. But
Hey.
that's because I don't try things I'm bad at right
Samesies,
now.
samesies.
Whenever I was in college, I only threw shots that I thought would be cool.
That makes sense.
I was not a safe player.
Yeah.
Dude, risk
So-
it all, baby.
When did this actually release? 1 day ago, which now is probably like 2 days ago. Over the weekend.
It was on trending.
This is on trending.
Oh,
That's
okay.
actually where I just went
Is it
to
number-
get to it.
where is
It's
it?
number.
It was like 17. at
It's
one
probably
point.
like around 17 to 20, if I
Yeah.
had to guess. But a YouTube channel called Smarter Every Day. This is actually Smarter Every Day by MVP. So MVP
Hit 'em
reached
with
out
it.
and sponsored a video
No
of
way.
this Smarter Every Day channel. And what this channel is basically a science channel with almost 12 million subscribers, 11.6 million subscribers. And MVP paid to sponsor the video.
That's
And the whole
genius.
video is basically come tour our warehouse and I will show you how we make disc golf discs.
Crazy.
And it was one of the first. There's been other ones, but this was the first time a like top disc golf manufacturer, in my mind, has opened up the curtain.
This is the
and been
biggest
like,
unveiling of the curtain we've
been like,
gotten.
this is how
from
we
that
do
level.
everything we do. The only thing we're gonna blur out is how we triple stamp foil. Like
Yeah.
that's the only thing that was blurred in the entire video.
I was pretty mind blown
That's
at
genius.
how much they showed. And
They showed everything.
I mean, it was like I was legitimately thinking to myself, like, and we don't know how some of these top end companies operate because I think
A lot of it was always just like hush hush.
Well, yeah, and the problem is I do think that sometimes in disc golf we are prone to underestimating the scale of these companies. But I like, as impressive as MVP is, and I have no doubt they're one of the leaders, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, I'd almost say for sure that there's a good chance that the Latitude factories are even more impressive as far as their size and scale and grandeur.
I would say size and scale. I bet what I felt like I was watching was the manufacturing process, the actual process, not the scale. We were looking at the top of the top.
I don't know though, because
What could have been possibly been better?
No, I don't know better, but I'm just saying, like, they have 2 robots, which, like, by the way, all this is very cool.
They only showed 2.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you
don't know how many of those.
If you ever watch like factories and stuff and like how, like, that is how that industry works. Like, they are just basically actually in line with how the manufacturing industry works. So I think anybody who is high end income, high end output in disc golf is working a structure like that, because the guy, like, it looks mind blowing to disc golfers, but like that is how that industry
Yeah.
works. So, but it was very impressive.
Well, I
just wouldn't be surprised if you walked into Innova and you saw the exact same thing.
maybe.
That's what
I would
I'm
be
saying.
surprised if you saw that vacuum system they had.
But that might be proprietary to a plastic injection molding factory.
No,
That's
they
what
said they got it custom built for them. They said that in the video.
people like to throw around the word custom built. Because, like, yeah.
This is my opinion on it, okay? What I saw.
This podcast says custom built.
What I saw was two
is?
scientists that, because I also hadn't really heard Brad and Chad, the founders of MVP, talk much. They are disc golfers, but they're not disc golfers.
No, they're very smart in
I
their
saw
field.
2 scientists that found disc golf.
Yeah.
Versus the majority of other disc golf companies are disc golfers that wanted to make discs.
Yeah.
And that's a very different process to get there.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
And so
that's what I'm saying.
I was watching that process and I was just thinking, like, I'm sure maybe at this point, because like trade secrets, like people have seen that factory, and one thing we know about disc golf is when someone has seen something, everyone knows about it. So even their blurred out triple foil machine, every manufacturer knows about it because someone has seen it, and then someone worked the machine and talks about it at a league, and then that league goes straight over. You know what I mean? That's how disc golf news works. But I was looking at it and I was blown away because the only factory we'd ever been let into was Gateway.
Well, as I was saying, we are
no shout out, no discredit to Gateway by any means because they're a very small manufacturing company.
They choose to do things differently.
Yeah, and then the only other one you'd seen was Trash Panda.
That's
who
what I'm
again
saying
is like they're grassroots, like they have one injection molding machine.
We don't really have an actual scale to work off of. So while I was I'm not undermining. Like I think
you were.
No, I'm saying I think that this video is incredible. I'm just saying I think a lot of people are going to look at it and say, "Wow, MVP is head and shoulders above the rest." We have no idea what everybody else is doing.
But we do have the end results.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, that's true.
And MVP, that's what I'm saying. We've known by the plastic that comes in that MVP's manufacturing process, quality control, all of that is
scientifically and statistically. I think that I can confidently say that MVP makes the best discs.
I think
just not my favorite ones, but the best ones.
Most consistent ones. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
that would be best.
I do agree with that. But I would just genuinely love to see how much of this is just mind blowing to me because like I've only ever seen one machine shops with guys doing it by hand, and how standard this is. Like, did we just see a bunch of stuff that other companies aren't doing, or is that just like I'm saying, like the injection molding plastic industry is incredibly wide scale, and it's not that hard to consult with other people to get the best outfit for your company if you're Innova, who's breaking in hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever the margin may be. So that's why I'm wondering if what they have is just like we're actually seeing a real scale plastic injection operation in disc golf. Or are they just doing it at a higher level? I have no idea. But it was incredible. I mean,
I think both of what you just said is true. I think it's a real scale plastic molding injection in disc golf, which is just not something that's in disc golf a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm sure
other big companies
I would imagine
doing
Latitude 64. I know they've been using robots for a long time because, but whenever it's been talked about a lot of times from other companies, it's like, well, Latitude uses robots.
It's true.
It's like robots were just introduced to certain companies like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know how many companies are doing the robots because I'll tell you what blew my mind was the calibration of some of the stuff. What like the we made this robot wiggle this little stand here to make sure the disc was seated right. One of the things I thought was really cool that I didn't know is how they did it was the laser to input.
That's what I'm saying
weight.
Is, you know, up until last year, Innova was handwriting the weights on all the discs. Yeah, Discraft still has stickers.
What you definitely see out of this company is they are pushing the cutting edge, and I do think that there are probably a lot of disc golf companies who maybe even have the resources to do a lot of this stuff, but probably are just like, it's not for us. Whereas I do think they seem like they are. If there's a way to streamline it and automate it, they're doing it. Like that, you definitely get that vibe.
I mean, well, so it's crazy. So they basically have a plastic storage warehouse that had like their raw materials, and in each of the raw material bins was a vacuum that sucked plastic up through the ceiling over to the dryer. Yeah. That then from the dryer would be sucked up through the ceiling to the actual injection molding thing. So like human hands don't have to touch it until you're at the machine. And even, really, a human hand never has to touch anything.
Yeah, the automation's insane.
But it was very
until the stamping. That was literally the one part that you saw human. Yeah.
The stamping, they still had to do your typical stamping. Oh, but we also didn't see the triple foil, so we don't know what was going on there. It was just blurred out, that machine.
Yeah, that machine was blurred. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what is like proprietary about that.
It must be
they've got a special human with 3 hands.
I know other companies.
It might just be like the machine itself.
That's what I'm saying. Because other companies to use like 2 foils, a lot of times will stamp at one of those machines and just move it to the other machine and stamp it the same way, just so it's a more intense process. It seemed like they had a machine that was like either doing it all at once or was like some type of automation, like do, and then like.
They showed their hot stamp temp. Did you notice that?
Yeah, 312.
Yeah. I don't think we ever got that hot.
No. It explained a lot of our hot stamp issues.
That's why they could just be like, that. I think this is because I thought this was one of the best disc golf videos ever. like genuinely, I was like locked in.
It was
the whole
33
time.
minutes, and it felt like a 5-minute video.
Yeah, like it's so crazy that it's taken this long for us to like see this at a bigger. And shout out to like Trash Panda did a video a little while back when they got their machine. Like they kind of gave us some good insight into this. This is the first time we've seen large scale manufacturing like in this way, I think. And man, I want to see more companies. Like I do think that it would be fascinating to see like, is anybody doing it similar, or are other companies kind of doing it more old fashioned, or somebody doing it bigger than this? Like I mean, yeah, I would genuinely be interested, because I mean their facilities were huge,
and they were all like, I mean, again, it's the disc golfer in me, right? Like just seeing how clean the warehouse was surprised me.
Yeah,
because you just think like disc golf, like it's just not the vibe. You know what I mean?
No.
Like
I love how they branded everything.
Everything,
too.
yeah, that's what I'm
everything
saying.
had the MVP logo on it. Like you can
even
tell they're just top notch.
Their injection molding machines all had the MVP, said the leading edge. The robots all had the MVP logo.
You
on
can
them.
tell that. Yeah, you can tell that they and there was multiple times they would bring on a guy and be like, "This is our guy who's an expert in programming our color mixing. This guy is an expert in our automation processes." Like they have surrounded themselves with individuals who have knowledge of that industry and know what they're doing. It's definitely not a let's figure it out type vibe.
No.
They're very, very smart about everything. And yeah, it was super cool. I can't believe how much they showed off.
I couldn't either.
Like open arms, like here, look at this, look at this. It definitely,
because like we for years, like Innova, from what I understand, and this could have changed because I haven't heard this stuff. I haven't really asked about manufacturing in a long time, ever since we like got some tidbits from Jesse at Trash Panda and we went to Gateway. Like it scratched my itch enough that I was like, okay, I have a basic understanding of like how a frisbee's made and all that stuff. Like that's all I ever wanted, was just like I want to see it happen. So I saw it happen. That scratched my itch. So I haven't pushed on like manufacturing side in a while, but like Innova for a while, like no players. No one got to see. That's what I'm saying. Discraft too. Like you do not go into their injection molding room. Now that obviously could have changed in the last several years, but like we're talking like 2018, 2019. That was a standard of like you didn't see it. Like you didn't get to see how any of this stuff happened.
Yeah, and I find it super interesting. Like I get the protect the secrets. Like whatever. That's your that's your bread and butter. Like that's what you do. But at the same time, I think within this industry, everybody's making a similar product, right? We're making a plastic disc. There's only so much nuance to that. And I think MVP kind of realizes, who cares if we show somebody else our processes? It's better PR for us than and somebody else takes it, whatever. People like our product. We'll keep certain things proprietary that we find are kind of like maybe we do it a little better than everybody else, maybe the triple foil stamping or whatever it might be. But it's kind of like, okay, go ahead and copy us. At the end of the day, we have our market share. You maybe doing a vacuum system for your plastic isn't going to change that. So I thought that was really cool.
Well,
I think it's interesting how cagey everybody is about it, and I wonder what all of their reasoning is towards that.
Well, I'm hoping this opens up doors where other people are going to start. Like, I think we should showing it.
Should we volunteer? We'll volunteer our services right now. If you are a manufacturer listening, we will do the tour video.
Sure.
What's the name of the YouTube channel?
Smarter Every Day.
We'll undercut Smarter Every Day. Our prices are way cheaper.
That is probably true.
Definitely true. They have 12 million subscribers.
Basically, yeah, you fly us out there and we'll make it. If Innova,
they have 100 times our subscriber base.
Innova, Discraft, Latitude. Any of you guys are listening, man, we'll do it for you. We'll give them the full scoop.
But I was also thinking, like, too, what MVP was doing, like, where again, basically start to end, the humans are just like managing the robots and like packaging the orders and stuff. One thing I did find interesting was their warehouse looked very full of discs, which was a little confusing by how we can't get discs on our shelf. But it was encouraging because I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe those are stuff that we'll be able to order.
Hey man, you want to turn those robots up to like 150% or something like.
What it really showed was like, they still can't meet demand. That's how in demand MVP is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like they're running that perfect of a like. I think he said it took 35 seconds to make a disc.
Wow.
I think he said it took 5 seconds to actually inject and 30 seconds for it to cool. Or something like that.
Molding process.
And they were also
running
water cooling the molds, which I hadn't seen that before. Anyways,
well, it takes them twice as long to make a disc. Got to overmold it.
So. But the few other things, but then we'll move on from this. One, I felt like they were at the, like, as they say, the leading edge, to where it was almost a video of like, if a disc golf company is going to learn anything, go ahead and spend the money on the robot. Best of luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how, like, that is, I couldn't, when I first saw it, my immediate impression was like, whoa, like, this is future. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, like, all factories and stuff uses robotics these days. I'm mind blown because I'm seeing in disc golf. And I thought to myself, like, how accessible is that to like certain upper echelon disc golf companies? How much is that MVP being like, these are super expensive, but we're going to make the investment? Or is it something that other companies are using? Or is it, and I think this is probably most likely, other companies just being like, it's not necessary for our operation. Like, they're kind of maybe stuck in their process. I don't know, because the robots were crazy, but that is just like modern manufacturing in general is just crazy. I watched this show on the Food Network growing up called Unwrapped, where they look at how foods and candies are manufactured in different plants. And I just started rewatching it a few weeks ago. And the automation, like the stuff that they can do, basically anything. You need something to happen, they can make a robot that can do it perfectly every time. And it's crazy. I will say the one thing that always makes the disc golf robots look crazy is because they're these big moving arms. It's not just like a little conveyor belt or something pushing something. It's like you literally have this like human arm moving around and pushing stuff.
It's like Jarvis.
Well,
yeah,
also,
it really is.
At one point they were also, this wasn't the second thing I was going to say, but they also were showing where like they had like they like designed the robot, this one robot, to like have a suction cup so that it could go in, place the disc, and then move forward to remove the last one and then place the next one all in one sweep. Because they're like, well, originally when we got the robot, it was like 2 separate movements. So we like designed, and like there were several things they said like that made me think like, oh, MVP figured this out. Like this was, it didn't come this way. Like, oh, MVP was like, we're wasting time to have it take it out, come over here, take it back in. So let's just add an additional arm so we can take one out, place the second.
There's definitely
some
amazing engineering at work in there. Absolutely.
The second thing, they said this very briefly, and obviously the guy who made the video was like just learning about disc golf, so he didn't know to ask this, and they probably wouldn't have said it. But like when they were talking about their molds, he was like, here's all the tops up here, and here's the bottoms down here. And some of the tops go with multiple different bottoms. Yeah. And they just like kept moving past it. I'm like, see, that's the type of stuff disc golfers love that. Yeah. Of like, so you're telling me the lift top goes with this bottom, and this bottom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's what like Innova back in the day used to be like, oh, the PD2 was a destroyer top with a whatever bottom and stuff like that.
One thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I saw was any CNCing. I don't think they showed any of the mold making. Because like I wonder, I mean, you would think they probably have that in-house, but I don't know how many companies have CNCing in-house to make their molds. Because, like, that's the thing. The molds are, you know, they're time-consuming, expensive no matter how you're doing it. So, yeah, it makes sense. Like, if I had, you know, 4 different molds, I'm going to mix them up every single which way and see what comes out of there.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, if you haven't watched the video, obviously we just talked about everything. See it for yourself. Because as a disc golfer, you're going to love it. It's basically a guarantee.
It is literally like, I was wondering how much they were going to show, and they just showed like everything.
They showed everything.
It's insane.
It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Very opposite of what disc golf has been.
Yeah, which I loved. So very, very great video. Now, also going down over this weekend on Facebook, this was actually like 5 days ago. Cale Leiviska posted this in the Facebook group Disc Golf Discussion. Which
I didn't even read the whole thing yet because I figured we were going to talk about it. So
it's a great Facebook group, by the way, if you're not in there. But okay, I'm going to just read his whole post. Cale
Leiviska going to
said,
talk about the other Disc Golf Discussion post, the course design one?
No, I didn't see that one.
No, the one you were telling me about with the course designer.
Oh, that wasn't a course design Facebook page. Different Facebook page.
We don't have to talk about that one.
Cale Leiviska said, okay, my first discussion topic here. Isaac Robinson just wins his 2nd consecutive world championship throwing Prodigy discs. Instead of people celebrating how impressive it is for such a small company to be producing a product that is good enough to compete with at the highest level, or how good the discs are, I hear so many people talking about how he should leave for a new sponsor next year. It is true that Prodigy is a very small company compared to the big dogs and may not be able to afford him, but who he's sponsored by doesn't affect the average disc golfer. But what does is how good the discs are and how quickly many people are to dismiss that when talking about Prodigy. There are only a handful of disc golf companies in the world that have a full disc lineup capable of competing at the highest level. Prodigy is one of them. So I guess my question is, why does a small American-made company with a fraction of the budget and market share receive so much negative attention at a time when they should be celebrated? We're talking about a true underdog story, comparable to a small market team in baseball winning the World Series with a fraction of the payroll of large teams, and not just doing it one year, but over and over for a decade. I have a feeling I know these comments are going I have a feeling I know how these comments are going to look, but felt the need to state the fact that the discs are really good and Prodigy has a lot of players over the years. And it lost a lot of players over the years because it can't afford them, yet still remains relevant in competition. It is pretty impressive, no?
So there's a little bit to unpack here. I would say the first thing that stands out to me is the reason why your biggest problem here is you're not perceived as a small company.
Exactly.
Like Prodigy does not.
For a while.
Prodigy does not come off as small American-made company.
No, it doesn't.
Because when you enter the market by buying every single good player in the sport, you kind of set a tone, right? Like
Prodigy is one of the most corporate feeling companies.
They came in and then and created a super team right away, and then from that point on, they're not going to be perceived as a small brand. They've been around for a long time. Now, what I will say is, yes, I do think it's underrated how much success Prodigy athletes have had with their plastic. However, you got to find the plastic they use on collector pages.
Well, also
there is that.
There's also the one thing that because basically a lot of the comments were like, Prodigy's not a small company, and then people will be like, well, by scale, Prodigy is a small company, but then they're like, but they're one of the 4 biggest in our sport. We just are a small sport. So it doesn't you don't get to play the small company card when you're one of the biggest in a small sport.
You don't get to play the small company card, I don't think you were a small company and you've taken a lot of financial hits due to maybe bad business practices.
Well, I think they were always
like that. It's like
small company on the scale of American companies. Yes.
Yes, of course,
exactly.
But not in disc golf. And it's like if you're Nike and everything collapsed and went to crap, do you get to play the we're a small company card? I don't think so.
No. I think the difference though is Prodigy buy pretty much every disc golf company, maybe not Innova or Discraft, but pretty much every disc golf company by the scale of business is a small business.
But I think his complaint is aimed towards the disc golf industry. I don't think if you're using the we're a small company and you're comparing it to other disc golf companies.
But I don't know how that's true.
That they're a small company.
Well, I think they're in a bad financial spot.
I feel like they're in a.
I think they've laid off a lot of people and got rid of a lot of pros.
Yeah, but I think they're in a gray zone of companies. I feel like they've always lived here. Similar to Discmania, where they have enough big name pros that they're competing on a big scale, which makes the consumer immediately think of them in the same breath of Discraft, Innova, Trilogy, Prodigy.
Yeah.
Whereas they might be manufacturing at a scale or whatever of a smaller brand like a I mean I don't even know, Gateway, Mint, like
Clash,
like they might be at that scale.
I think when that happens it's just because your plastic, just people aren't wanting to throw it. I think that's what it comes down to.
That's what I feel like. This might sound insensitive, but also I don't view Prodigy as a small company because they've been around for a long time. Like in the scale of disc golf companies,
probably about 10 years.
Yeah, so in the scale of disc golf companies, because
not that long.
We've got a lot of companies right now that are like putting out stuff, and they're really, really new.
Yeah.
And so I don't view them as a small company. So whenever I hear we can't afford the players, it doesn't make me feel like we're a small town vibe American company. It makes me feel like you've been around a long time and you still can't afford players because maybe something just isn't lining up.
Well, the other thing is he leaned into the American made, and then most of the comments were like, I would throw Prodigy if y'all weren't made in China.
Yeah,
which he was having to respond and be like, well, hey, like only a certain molds are made in China. And then someone's like, well, but like, how am I supposed to know? Right. Because you buy a disc and sometimes it's made in China, and they're like, that doesn't feel American.
If I had thought of Prodigy as like a small business American like company, then I would be more excited about Prodigy. They haven't marketed themselves as that. No. You know? I think Prodigy as a whole feels very European.
They came in, I think, with a very we're gonna go for the ultra professional, almost assume the identity of this big disc golf entity. And that's how they entered the market, and that's how they set their perception in people's minds. And they haven't really changed their branding or anything to change that idea. And I think they've had opportunity. You know, when they first came in, there were so many pros throwing their plastic, and it just didn't really catch on. I think the way that they marketed their disc, going with the D1, D2, M1, M2, I don't know that really caught on back in the day, 2013, 14, when they were coming into the market. And then it's just never been able to catch on. And then you got the issues with Gannon that arose, and it's kind of been a downward spiral. They haven't really, but in the midst of this, they do have these pros that keep winning things. I think that just shows us that doesn't it's not going to carry you at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I think it's dangerous to talk about pros winning with certain plastic because they're getting the very, very, very best disc that that company's ever made.
Yeah.
So like, I think any company, any good pro with any company could win.
Well, I think I want to say 2 points. One, to the pro thing, I think Prodigy's one of their strengths recent years has been spotting potential. Because if you look, they've signed a lot of players that have blossomed. Gannon Buhr, Isaac Robinson,
Very good point.
Alden Harris. Heck, they signed Dickerson pre all of that stuff. Now, initially when they came in, they picked up everyone who was big. They picked up the big germ, Ricky Wysocki, Katrina Allen, Paige Pierce. They picked up all the big names when they first came in.
Yeah, they've got.
But since then, they have done a phenomenal job of like spotting young or developing talent.
They snagged KJ from Joker, or not Jokery, from
Prodiscus.
From Prodiscus. Yeah, they have had good pickups.
They have a very good, whoever's doing their initial signing of like, they put a lot of bets in the right spot. Now, unfortunately, they put some big bets in the wrong spot, which is, I think, what ended up hurting them. But their talent, that's something where, because like you see like Chris Dickerson is just a phenomenal disc golfer. So he's still been phenomenal when he went to Discraft. You know what I mean? Isaac Robinson's a similar way, where he's going to be phenomenal wherever he goes. Ezra Robinson's similar. Gannon Buhr. But if you look at him, it's like, okay, well, the one thing they had in common is whoever's doing the signings at Prodigy was right on like all of those.
Right.
And they've only been wrong to like on a bigger scale only a handful of times. But when they're right, they're really right. I think one of the things is the way Cale just described the business is just not the way the business has ever felt. I think that's where
I agree.
The way Cale just described it, I think most people would be like, oh, I can get behind that company.
Yeah, he
but
described it as an underdog, but
I
nobody
wish
sees
it
him
felt
that
like
way.
But you don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and a part of the reason was they came in with this really professional. They felt like they were trying to push the sport to like a really high-end professional
When you
level, but
watched
then
Prodigy-
the discs didn't match what they were pushing.
When you saw Prodigy at the very beginning, the discs they released, the videos they released, like the in the bags and everything, you thought that they were owned by some dude with $1 billion. Like it felt like,
which is
unprecedented
great
disc
job.
golf. Yeah.
First off, like that's phenomenal.
That's just how they
the
entered.
problem was the quality didn't match.
Right.
I think that was where it all falls apart. I mean, I love Prodigy discs. All right, I was sponsored by them a few years ago. The M4, the PA3, like they have some molds that are phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah, some of the best discs I've ever thrown.
But they're all chalky sitting on my shelf, and I got to use olive oil to get them back to feel normal. let's just call it what it is. Like that's the whole problem here, right? If that stuff
just
was
never caught.
Popping off right now.
If their discs, which are some of the great, like literally, I think the M4 PA3, the old M3, I don't know if it's still the same mold.
They've released some great things.
They're some of the greatest molds on the market.
Yeah, the old D3 was so good.
If that stuff was in Supreme plastic, I think a lot of it would click.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like if it came in and the flashing issues, which obviously Gannon was a big thing, if that wasn't a deal with Prodigy, if the chalkiness didn't start like a month into being on the shelf, which I don't know enough about plastic manufacturing to know why that happens, but whatever it is, I do know enough to know it doesn't happen with a lot of other companies.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of it fell apart for me, was like the brand image and the actual product didn't align.
I just remember Prodigy, I think, came out in 2013, and I believe in like early 2014, I went to a tournament, and one of my buddies who vended, he would drive to tournaments in the local area, and he'd vend out of his van. He had like a kind of a disc store, and I remember being like, I hadn't tried Prodigy yet. I had just seen the hype. A lot of my favorite, Rule Shoestrick, Nico LaCastro, loved these pros, and they were throwing Prodigy. And I asked him, I'm like, hey man, you have any of this Prodigy? I really want to get my hands on it. And he was like, oh yeah, I think I have some in my van, and this is like not even a year probably after release. I think I have some in my van, like people just never really got into the hype. Like I haven't really been able to sell it, but I can bring it out for you. Like that was my first perception of Prodigy, being like, what? Like really? And yeah, that's just kind of like, I feel like it's had its chances to catch on. It's weird how these disc golf companies get big, right? Innova, they had the earliest market share. They're in the sporting goods store. They had the iconic pros back in the day. They've just kind of been around. Discraft, they caught fire because they got the biggest pro at the right time, and their plastic was good enough that people wanted it. Latitude and House of Disc, that's just been a slow grind, huge market shares with the European. Like everybody's kind of found their way to get big, and Prodigy, they signed all the players, and I think at the end of the day, the plastic just failed them, and whether that was how they marketed it or the plastic itself, it just never quite caught on all the way.
Where they're at right now, some of the plastic in Prodigy discs today are some of the best discs they've ever made.
They still make good discs.
Like
it's not like they can't make good discs.
The freaking Reblend D1s that just came in the warehouse. Amazing. That's one of the greatest Prodigy discs I've ever felt in my life.
Some of the best plastic.
When I heard it was recycled, my mind was blown. The 500 Spectrum M4 that's been in my bag off and on with my MD3 fighting with it. Incredible.
If they could get their best stuff out there every time,
their Spectrum plastic
it would be a different
recently.
Story, yeah.
Even now, obviously, this goes against what Cale was just saying, but their Chinese-made stuff
feels good.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
It's really, really solid. So I think it's not like Prodigy's done, but I think they do have to take a look at how are we marketing ourselves, what is the story we're telling people, and then if we're going with top-of-the-line professionalism, stuff like that, does our product match?
Is it time for a rebrand?
Or is it time for a rebrand?
All the way.
I don't think it's time for a rebrand. I think it's time for a quality assessment.
Yeah.
Let's take a hard look at our plastic. Let's come out with let's maybe scratch some of the old plastic, rename it, rename 400 to something new so that people are so
you got to do something to get people excited.
So people have I haven't tried that before, and then commit to quality. Now that you have a regrind ability, if something comes off the shelf, comes off the machine, and it's not up to snuff, which you need to decide what snuff is. If it's not up to snuff, regrind that bad boy, turn it into a money D1.
Yeah, if you name your discs with such a particular numbering system like they do, the PA3, PA4 like that, then you're expected it to be a scientific disc that this is how it flies. That's just, again, like we said, that's how it comes across. That's how it's marketed as this is the clean, professional, scientific disc,
Yeah.
But whenever they're not consistent at all, then it really hurts that. So I think that exactly like what you're saying, they got to just really hone in on quality control. I would even say maybe even cut your lineup in half if that's all you can handle right now. But make that lineup, whatever lineup you can handle, make those as close to perfect as possible, and see if basically rebuilding from that can get you where you want to be. I can kind of reason with Cale because it does seem sad. It does seem like anytime anyone performs well with Prodigy, the feeling is they might be able to get out of there now. It kind of feels like maybe they'll be able to move on to something bigger and better than Prodigy.
It's been tough PR for them.
Because forever, Prodigy has just been a heck of a stepping stone. Because they go, like you said, they sign players that end up having a ton of potential. So I can see how that does kind of make it a little bit sad.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, not
but
a
then
fun
also
situation.
that's me reasoning with him. The thing against that is we feel for it's been for years that we'll feel a batch and be wow, this is the best Prodigy has ever made. Maybe they're turning a new leaf, and then but it just rarely does anything really change. It's just this would have to be some good feeling plastic.
And then you get because then you'll get the next batch of premium might still have flashing.
We've been saying that for a few years.
Yeah.
I feel like.
But no, it's definitely an interesting one, and I think Cale's a part owner of Prodigy, or he's at least involved in some way, shape, or form. So I can see where that'd be a very frustrating thing to hear about your company that you love, and but it's the end of the day that it also didn't help, even though they might have been in the right. Who knows when it all shook out? You're never going to be in the public perception right suing a 17-year-old.
No.
Or whatever. Yeah. Gannon might have just recorded that because I don't know how old he actually was. But the public perception wise, whether you're in the right or you're not, which sucks because Gannon is one of the arm talent wise has the potential to be the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
So obviously Prodigy's sitting there we can't let him just walk.
He's also one of the most beloved disc golfers.
Yeah, we can't. Well. 50-50.
Well, yeah.
But
the people who love him really love him.
People who love him love him,
Yeah.
Which is great. You'd rather have people who love him and hate him than everyone kind of likes him.
I think a polarizing player sells more.
Much better, yes. So in Prodigy's stance, of course you can't just let that dude walk. You have a gold mine in Gannon Burr, but you also can't sue him. Even if that is the right move by their perception or however, obviously they settled and it all worked out in the end, but I think that also public perception wise just hurt a lot of people where they're I'm never throwing Prodigy. They sued Gannon.
They can't seem to get any positive PR for anything. It's never good when your player wins Worlds. They've won 3 majors now under your company and nobody's praising you. That's a bummer. Imagine we sponsor Isaac Robinson and he wins and we're that's great for us. but then you're just knowing in the back of your mind, actually, by him getting attention, it's actually bad attention for us. Like, that's tough.
Well, I also think, though,
But like,
there's also a part of disc golf where you just like that's just part like people. There's buying patterns, right? Like Paul was dominant for so long that his brand sold Discraft, even though he wasn't dominant with Discraft.
Yeah.
Like he had never won with Discraft, and it was like selling out of everyone's shelf.
Yeah.
Like Paul moved the plastic, Discraft didn't move the plastic.
Right.
Same thing with like Innova. Innova, it's all about the play. So like, I guess a player's success is always attributed to the player because we all play disc golf. We all understand like if you're a good disc golfer, you could beat me with the like just really weird, terrible discs. You're still going to beat me. Yeah, you're still a great disc golfer.
Right.
It's always the archer, not the arrow. I think that's like where it somewhat starts to fall apart of like, well, no one's getting praised for the plastic. Like it's not like very rarely does a player go to a company, win their first title. Like if Kevin Jones were to right now, sure, they might say, oh, see, it's Innova's plastic because he just moved.
Yeah.
But like,
and that's where like I kind of feel like they're stuck in this loop. Because the reason why other companies can like capitalize on players doing well and then selling because of it is because it really feels like they use their plastic to get behind the player, making discs for them and doing all these things, letting them design stuff and all this stuff. While with Prodigy, it kind of feels like they don't ever get that chance because whenever a player does well, they can't really make a commemorative disc or anything because then they're on to another company.
They've started to do it, right? But the tough part is they did it with Cale, who's very, very popular, but he's not popular for being a like dominant disc golfer anymore. Like he's now popular because he was good. Like he's still solid, don't get me wrong, but he's not like performing top level trying to win tournaments.
Of course.
Kevin Jones, similar. By the time he started making the feedback and the distortion and stuff like that, he wasn't performing at a high level. Isaac Robinson, sure, he has the archive and he made that while he is performing at a high level. He doesn't have a brand yet.
No.
Like he's just not super marketable yet. He is now my favorite player through and through. I'm about to start rocking IR merch. Like, but it's taken a while for me to like come around. And really what sold me was I got to actually spend time with him, talk to him, see his personality. And now I'm like, oh, I love this guy. Yeah. But like the player brand is so crucial and people just overlook it. Like that's what sold. That's why Paul sells more plastic than anyone else. That's why Paige was selling more plastic than anyone else. That's why even Ricky, hit or miss. That's why Brody was freaking 20th or 30th or whatever in the world, yet probably third in disc sales because it's like player brand trumps everything.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see. Who's able to grab followers. And I when we were just at Worlds, we noticed probably AB is the guy right now with the merch because normally at a disc golf tournament, PM merch everywhere. This is the biggest scattering of merch I've ever seen. Like it was very all over the place as far as what people were wearing, but AB was the common theme.
Yeah,
a lot of
AB jerseys, AB hats. He's the guy.
And to be fair, he does have good merch, so maybe he just converts on his fans better. But usually you see more Paul merch.
And there's this weird like circle, like Pac-Man looking logo I've seen everywhere. That's like found.
I think
it was Foundations, something like that.
Foundations.
Well, how I took it was that someone just like messed up when they were trying to draw the Linkin Park logo.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's the Audio Technica logo.
Or that. I saw a lot of music fans out there.
Yeah, I was like, wow, there's a lot of tech guys out here.
Wow.
Linkin Park.
All right, it's time for a fan favorite segment, Trevor's Trivia, right after these messages.
Trevor.
All right.
You didn't say a word.
I said Trevor.
Okay.
I said Trevor.
Here's the thing, boys.
What's the thing?
Okay.
We're gonna play a little game today.
I like games.
Where in the heck does that guy play?
Ohio.
I'm gonna name some of those fringe tour players, some of those ones that you know their name, but that's about it.
Okay.
And you're gonna tell me what manufacturer they're sponsored by.
Love it. I'm ready for it.
We'll start, I think, on the easier side and maybe get a little more difficult. Maybe I don't know if you guys will be amazing at this. You guys can work together. I don't know if you'll be.
Can you name like one does that guy throw?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like what does that guy throw? It's like easier to say.
Okay.
Like, where does that guy play?
What does that guy throw?
Yeah, I like that, Drew. I like this.
You're either going to be amazing at this or really bad. I don't know. The first one I think is pretty easy.
Okay.
Ty Love. Where does that guy play? What's that guy throw?
So like he's a House of Disc guy, or was. do we have to name like the specific
Yeah,
companies?
yeah.
But
Is it Westy?
I think it's Dynamic.
Ah.
I feel like I've seen a Ty Love. I've definitely seen a Ty Love trilogy disc, but the problem is I see trilogy as just trilogy.
I'm glad that
Yeah,
you're
that's a good
hezzy on
point.
this one because like this is one of the easier ones.
Yeah.
So that makes
well,
me feel
if you
good.
do anyone in trilogy, I'm gonna hesitate on.
Yeah.
Because like Ricky's with Dynamic, it has his name on a harp.
Definitely hitting a dirty hezzy right now.
So I'm gonna go Dynamic.
Are we working
You like
together,
Dynamic?
or are
We're
we-
working together.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little Westy vibe just because I haven't heard, like, I don't really know, but I like Dynamic though.
Let's just go Dynamic.
It is Dynamic.
Nice.
Okay.
There you go. 1 for 1.
I wonder where the Westy vibe was coming from.
Probably he throws West Side. There's
Next.
trilogy.
Next, we have Calvin Longquist. What does that guy throw?
Cal Longquist.
I love
He was just in the store, I think, and I think someone said it was a blonde dude on Innova. And I said, I threw out someone else's name. And they're like, no. And then they're like, oh, Cal Longquist. I said, oh, I would have never guessed
This guy's
that.
got dirty inside
Innova.
intel.
Innova.
It's Innova. I saw him
Correct.
in the store.
Innova.
Correct. 2 for 2.
Oh, it was you that saw him in the store.
Yeah,
Even
you guys saw
better.
him in the store.
Goated. All right. Next, we've got Jake Mon.
I said a guy that I kind of recognize with an Innova shirt.
Jake Mon. What does that guy
Wait,
throw?
Jake Mon. He's like
a-
sneaky.
Is he the guy that just won all the USAM and all that stuff? Or is that his brother, Ryan Mon? That's his brother,
No,
Ryan
sir.
Mon.
Jake Mon is the ginormous bearded guy that was kind of taking over USDGC a couple years back.
Yeah, I think he's on Discraft.
You think he's a Discraft?
I think he's Discraft.
All right, hit him with
Discraft.
it.
Would you like another guess?
Yeah,
Oh.
Thought Space.
No, Discraft's my only guess. at all.
DGA.
DGA, okay.
Yeah, he's part of that class that came
You're
in.
close.
All right,
Basically
2 for
the same.
3.
Close,
2 for
yeah.
3.
So he probably has some. What is it? What's the question you're asking now? What does that guy throw?
Oh, what does that guy throw?
I guarantee he has a Discraft mold in his bag.
Guarantee?
He's on Team DGA.
Guarantee?
He
Put
probably
your
has
money
zero-
where your mouth is.
Yeah,
How about $5?
All right, let's find a Jake Mon in the bag right now.
He just needs one Discraft mold.
yeah, it's true.
That's a good bet.
If he
That
has
is a
like,
good
he has
bet.
to
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
a recent one for sure. Like we won't just 2 weeks ago. That's
Okay,
pretty
that's-
recent.
Wow,
That's pretty
wow, wow,
recent.
wow, wow.
Who's it produced by? This is
DGA.
important. Well, see, that could be biased. they
Nah,
can make
but
him take something out of his bag.
We'll
for-
see. We'll see.
Well, if it's not a Discraft mold, I'm calling it bias.
I mean, yeah.
no,
that's fair.
$5 a fair bet.
Okay, so he puts his steady BLs.
Okay, makes sense.
What else he got? Those look like breakers. Breakers. Zone.
Boom.
There you go.
Nailed
That's
it.
usually the
you
one
owe
you
me
can,
$5.
That's usually the one you can bank
You don't owe
on.
me anything.
Is
I
the
put my money where my mouth
yeah,
was.
my money was not anywhere near my mouth. That is usually the one you can bet on with
So
the
we
DGA
were-
guys.
I do want you to say ding.
Ding. I will give you a half a point.
No,
Higher,
the only question
higher.
is, what does he throw?
It's a good point.
Trevor, higher pitch.
I will change.
on, ding, but
rephrase it.
higher.
No. Next, we got Thomas Gilbert. What is that guy sponsored by?
I think he's still sponsored by a lot.
I thought Thomas was
He
Thought
was
Space.
Thought Space, but is he still Thought Space?
I think he's still Thought
Let's
Space.
go Thought Space.
You are correct, Space.
Yeah.
Can I get ding?
Ding.
Yes.
There you go. Good job, guys. All right, we have 3 more. These ones I think are a little bit tougher.
Thoughtful Space.
Next, we've got
MySpace.
Andrew Miranda. Who sponsors that guy?
Andrew.
Trevor, come on,
Miranda.
man.
Yeah.
Come on.
What does that guy
What
throw?
does
It's
that
way
guy
more fun.
What was that guy throw? Do it.
I won't get you on a technicality anymore.
I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. Now I'm hurt.
Who the frick is Andrew Miranda? It's like an off-brand Marweed? Okay, hold on. Let's think about this. Who's Andrew Marweed sponsored by?
DGA.
DGA. What's an off-brand DGA?
Discraft.
I think. Okay, what's another
No,
company
Andrew Miranda-
made by another company? Infinite.
You think he's on Infinite?
It's Infinite.
Okay, let's just go Infinite.
You think I'd ever mention that dirty name?
I
on
think
this
he's.
podcast?
Oh, you're right.
I thought it was
I'm
Innova.
sorry.
Andrew Miranda feels Innova to me. I think he's a Cali boy.
He is a Cali boy.
So I'm gonna go Innova.
That's impressive. He is DGA.
Oh,
How funny is that?
we should just
All right,
stuck.
2 more.
I mean, there was a thought process I was on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't
you
discredit
just
me
went
for
the
that.
wrong way.
Yeah.
Next, we got Mason Marchbank. What does that guy throw?
Millennium.
No, okay, you knew.
Yeah.
All right, last one. I think this one is. I'm not sure if you remember that or not. Last one. I think this one's pretty tough. Maybe. Aiden Scott. What does that guy
Prodigy.
throw? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Hunt's
know.
on
I
the
didn't.
move.
That one.
Look, I got
that one. I
Hunter's on the
actually
prowl.
didn't
I have
know.
personal beef with him simply
Oh,
because
frick.
he wears Pit Vipers and I don't like him.
Oh.
I don't know
okay.
him at all.
Okay.
I just
But
saw
you
him
have
throwing
personal-
Pit Vipers.
You said personal beef.
Pit Vipers with no hat, and I personally said gross.
Do you think it could be ironic, or is it like a no?
it didn't.
this is
No,
him?
it didn't feel ironic.
Okay,
like
that's
Silas
tough. Yeah,
Schultz
yeah.
feels ironic.
Yeah.
He didn't. He could be. It could be ironic. But it did nothing.
We need a
screamed.
statement from Aiden. Is it ironic or do you like them?
Yeah, nothing screamed irony, and I just was like, nah, I'm out.
So you judged him based off the way he looks.
Nope. Off his sunglasses. Off his sunglass choice. He look that's more the problem is he looks great without the sunglasses.
Okay.
And then puts the Pit Vipers on. I'm like, ah. To be fair, I felt the same way about Joey Buckets until Joey Buckets started winning. And now I'm like, I can get behind the Buckets.
Oh, so you're a gold digger.
No.
I don't want his thing. Yeah,
I don't want his money.
I think you are.
I don't
So
want
you're
his
a
money.
prejudiced gold digger.
I would never use that word.
I was just saying, once you have some success, I feel like you can do whatever the frick you want. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you have no morals.
Like if Joseph Anderson in 30th
No, you're right.
is like,
If like LeBron James called himself King James and he sucked, we'd be all like, he's still a douchebag. But like now he's still a douchebag, but he wins.
yeah, it's like
You
hard
know?
to come against someone who wins.
Or like if Tiger, his name was Tiger and he wasn't winning all the time, then he'd be like, Tiger?
well, his name's Eldridge.
Way cooler than Tiger.
A little harder to brand.
Big L.
I wonder, no one in disc golf really thought
Big
about
Dridge.
Just naming yourself. Well, I mean, that was like his childhood nickname. So it's like not like he. I mean, obviously they leaned into it, but obviously.
that. But like he's gonna sell a lot more merch.
Let's have
Tiger
yeah.
Woods
I'm
than
saying.
Eldridge Woods.
So I guess
Yeah,
what we
sure.
were saying is we need to have all the disc golfers submit their like
Childhood
coolest
It's a
childhood.
stage
I guess
nickname.
Big Germ.
This is a stage name. Yeah.
Big Germ.
Like Big Germ's gonna sell more merch than Jeremy.
Guys, I
like
think we
Big
might be
Zot.
onto something. I think that like the nicknames are like a kind of a cheat code.
Yeah.
McBeast.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
like think about okay.
Saki bomb.
I know, but seriously, maybe some of these marketable players they need to really lean into
Say it
that.
out of context like that, man. Then you realize how silly it is.
Yeah.
You're right though.
Yeah. What are some other disc golf nicknames?
Well, I'm just thinking of some players that could use one.
Gannon Burr could use one. Gannon Burr needs to start going by Slenderman.
That's not a
You could
nickname.
be the Slim Reaper.
That's
Slim Reaper is great too.
Slim Reaper. Interesting.
Yeah,
But that's
it's,
Kevin Durant's nickname.
nickname.
But it is a
that's
great
my
one.
bad.
Well,
That's my bad.
I think he can lean into the Gannon Burr like he's cold type thing.
Iceman.
Yeah.
The Iceman.
Iceman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
See, it's already
Like
cooler.
I'm buying
Jack
an
Frost.
Iceman.
I'm buying an
MD3.
Iceman
Jack
disc.
Frost.
Like a white MD3 with a blue Iceman on there that just says
Yeah.
Burr.
I
or
think we just
something.
invented nicknames.
We just invented nicknames.
Or
Holy cow, guys!
I still like
is good
Cannon
work.
Burr.
Cannon
Burr.
Like
It's,
Cannon the
it's
Cannon.
out there. It's out
Cannon
there.
the
Cannon
Cannon.
Bird.
People are
Yeah.
talking about it. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, like I guess Anthony Barella has kind of done it in like his logo looks like a snake. A lot of his merch is a snake, and then his disc's the venom.
Let's just start calling him the Snake.
Okay, hold on. Everybody stop. Everybody stop.
Everybody stop.
We
Hammer
need to
time.
stop right now. This is a great topic for In the Bag, the off-season
Good.
segment.
Yep. Great,
What's
great,
the
great
best
idea.
disc golf nickname that doesn't exist yet?
That's getting close.
yeah.
I know.
We're a
Oh
few
my
weeks away. We need to.
I think that's
we
our
need to
first
this
topic.
year.
We
We
need
need
to
to
really
this year
plan
for in the
ahead.
bag. A, plan ahead topics. B, keep score, and C, do a punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prize
we,
and a
we
punishment.
always start falling apart about halfway
Th-
through.
we-
Yeah.
I think maybe what we'll do is like we'll have like
We should do it like part of my take style where the winner. I don't know if they do this,
It's
but
so
they did
hard
at one
to
point.
come up with topics.
The winner gets something. The loser has a punishment, and then the prize for being in second is you get neither.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just like loser has to do something, winner gets something. The second place is
The
just like
kicker with the way they do it though too is you have to do the anonymous polls, and I think they time
The
we
thing
their-
that
do. We do
suck-
anonymous polls.
Yeah,
the
but
thing that sucks
I think
though
the
is
key with
that
theirs too is they time their polls a certain way.
Like it's done before it comes out.
I'll have to look at
Doesn't make sense.
the thing that sucks though, and this is just part of it, is that if you're just trying to win, then it just gets way less entertaining because they're not as funny.
But it all depends on how people are voting.
Yeah, I mean,
You're right. But
I
like,
know.
You can have the funniest.
I'm always gonna choose mine based on what I think is gonna be the funniest for the grip lock listeners.
But a lot of times, the funniest ones won.
Yeah, I think that
Like, I would get frustrated 'cause I
your
had a
very
good-
funny creative answers always won.
Because I would have a good list, and I'd be like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Freaking, I don't even know what's like
also-
a dumb name, a dumb
I think
answer.
it depends on. I think
Johnny
there's-
Red Hands
I
won
think-
over freaking Paul
Johnny-
McBeth.
Well, there's
Johnny
there's kind of two categories. You either have the ones that are very open-ended and creative, where the open-ended and creative answers wins, or you have the ones that are very relatable topics,
Yeah.
and that's where the most relatable answers win. Where it's like if we're saying what is your what are your favorite Innova discs, and like you pick the most relatable ones. That's what's
Yeah.
going to give you the win. Versus if it's disc golf band names, the most creative one's going to win because
Yeah,
nothing's
true.
relatable.
Now, this weekend we do have Discraft Great Lakes Open going down.
The Glow.
So we'll have our preview show tomorrow. But if you're not a DGN subscriber, be sure to use our code. Use code FDG10 to get 10% off your first month of DGN Standard or Pro monthly pricing. Or if you're going to sign up for the full year, use FDG20 to get yourself 20% off your first year of DGN Standard or Pro. Tune in to this coverage this weekend. Going to be a blast playing out at Toboggan. Final topic of the day.
Twitter.
We'll look at Twitter here in a second.
Oh,
Top 10, man. That poor
we're
thing.
doing top 10.
Poor top 10 can't ever make it.
I think it's
man.
actually my favorite running thing now that it just never happened.
Well, I mean, just look. We're already 55 minutes in. I got this topic, and I want to get to some Twitter questions.
A lot of people told us they liked our podcast because we're shorter than others and to
Yeah.
the point. So we have to stick to that.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't want to turn
When
it.
have we ever been short and to the point about a single thing in the world?
Well,
We ended an hour
we
instead
had-
of.
yeah,
We
3.
could easily
Oh,
be
true.
tour life and go to 2.5
That's
or
a
3
good
or
point.
4 or 5.
That's a good point.
The thing about disc golf podcasts,
They are
we're
long
actually quite
and
short.
not to the point.
Yeah. This was posted in Foundation Nation as a screenshot from Seth Larson. And unfortunately, sorry, Prodigy, it is about Isaac Robinson. It is about
Oh, no.
now I have a hunch about this one, but we'll talk about that in a second.
he's got
Elijah
a hunch.
Bickle said, team stamped older pinned S-Line PD 9.5 out of 10 new bad kit Ben $60. People are bidding on it. Blah 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 blah. Isaac Robinson Ben. Isaac Robinson bought up an old S-Line PD.
Here's the thing about this. This is a double move in my opinion. Obviously a troll in the sense that Alden did this last year.
Did go to Discmania.
Right, that's why it's a double move. He
Might not
did
be a
this
troll. It
last
might
year.
Just be like he was. Wow, that was how he got a lot of his good discs.
Well, it's
So-
just like he knows everybody's going to see it. He knows it's going to get picked up on. Like there is a troll element, but I think it's a double move because I think it's also I'm going to start stockpiling my Discmania.
Here's my thought process. Okay.
Or did he just have Alden give him $60 and then he just bought
I
for
think
him?
this is a Ford and Alden vlog to see. Now this is a little bit.
Are we about to get clipped? Is
Are we-
that-
I think this might have been.
You can't clip
I thought
us.
when I saw this, I mean, it was like we got to talk about that on Grip Block. I was like, but what if this is Gannon baiting us
That is a
into
very good
talking about
hunch.
this on Grip
Very
Block
good
to
hunch.
see, hey, can we get Grip Block to talk about Isaac going to Discmania by having him
We need
bid
to
on a
put it in
PD?
the title to really get them because like we're 55 minutes in, they might not see it, so we need a
Gannon's
title.
gonna see it.
It's got to get in the title.
But let's also flip the coin
Isaac's
here.
going to Discmania.
Isaac is going to Discmania. Let's just call it what it is.
Oh,
I'm pretty confident he's going to Discmania.
Let me just go in and get myself clipped.
I'm like 50%.
Let me just go in and get
confident,
myself.
I'd
clipped.
go like 60%. He's Discmania.
but- Okay.
That's where I'm at.
I get that.
20% 10% chance he stays at Prodigy. 20% chance he goes to Innova. 10% chance he goes to someone else. 60% chance he goes to Discmania. I think that's where
that's
my
a good pie chart.
That's
I
where
like
my
it.
chart is
I
right
like
now.
your pie.
I think that added up to 100.
I'm just gonna go and get myself clipped by Gannon because I know he's not
Okay,
gonna
go
like
ahead.
this.
Yeah.
But like like no hard feelings here. But like if Isaac does win next year with Discmania, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, but he won using discs that you could only buy off eBay.
It's true.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's hop over to Twitter. We had to bring that up though because he did buy a disc, an
That's
old
a
Discmania
good point.
disc.
We did. That was a very good hunch.
Yeah,
Because
Hunt.
that's incredibly
Hunches.
valid. We probably were in the midst of getting clipped right there.
Yeah.
But I still don't really change my opinion. I think it was a troll, but an also like haha.
probably.
But also
You just don't
a-
like if you really. I gotta say, I just want to say because
Say
like
it.
if you really cared about the company you were playing for, you wouldn't do that. You know, like if Isaac was like actually like I love Prodigy, you're not gonna go on your public Facebook account and buy another manufacturer's disc on Facebook.
Unless
I'm just gonna go ahead and
unless he's asleep, phone was unlocked.
yeah, no, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there. You just wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't
Dang. Hit him
personally.
with it.
I mean,
But-
seriously, like that's crazy.
I mean,
it's very funny though.
Yeah.
Okay, some questions. This one was just a
I'm
good
not sure
idea.
who's getting clipped.
I think this is a good idea for Patreon, to be honest with you. It's from Jason Bazzi. I think he was on Debate Night at one point, Jason. He said, would love some detailed feedback analysis on Trevor's break 57 and for Konner's break 86. Maybe do a Jomez post commentary from the team. I think it would be fun. Our patrons would probably love it if we did like a reaction
Oh, that's
of
funny.
like Konner breaking his 86, you breaking your 57. Especially like I haven't seen Trevor break 57. I knew he did, but I haven't watched the whole
yeah.
video. But like, and we haven't
Pretty
seen Konner
uneventful.
break 86 in a long time.
Dang.
So it'd just be like sit down and go over them.
That's
I
funny.
would going through the break 86s would be a lot of fun because there were some serious highs and lows.
Yeah. TF Advanced said, now that you have gained the lead in sales against Tour Life, what will you do in order to guarantee you maintain that lead? I was thinking about this the other day.
Wait, did we gain the lead in sales above Tour Life?
Oh, we're
you didn't
clapping
hear about
them.
this?
What the
They found
frick?
out live on Tour Life while I was
my
co-hosting.
gosh, no way.
Yeah,
You were
I
up
was
by
sitting
40.
there, and we're up by 40 on them.
Dude,
They were like, oh, let's check the Tour Life sales. I said, check Grip Lock while you're at it. And they're like, you don't want us to do that. And I was like, you're probably right. I probably don't. And then they checked Tour Life and said
Holy
whatever number.
frick.
And then Silas goes, wait, what? I was like, what, Silas? He's like, y'all are up by 40. And then I just went
Oh,
off.
that's amazing.
I just started yelling. I said,
we need to make.
I said, Tour Life was my podcast now. Cute little show you got here. You know, all the
That's
typical
funny.
stuff.
It's because they didn't capitalize and make Yuli Black Eye merch.
Well, that is fair.
Let's make this.
What I was
everybody-
thinking was we need to just keep leaning into the fact that they can only run on Discraft discs.
Yeah.
So we just need to
true.
keep running Grip Locked on everything else.
Oh, heck yeah.
Just keep
That's true.
Maybe
capitalizing
like
on.
MVP.
We did. That's kind of what got us the lead.
Yeah, that's true.
Take that, you Discraftians.
This was an interesting question from Noah Fields. He said, when will we see the quote unquote complete player in FPO, or will we ever? Is that important? Even Kristen has deficiencies in her game, patent pending, other backhand scramble shots, backhand approaches. She doesn't have the top 10 distance either, backhand, probably top 5 forehand.
Well, nobody's ever complete, but I guess what he's referencing is like, you can look at Gannon Burr and say that he is top of the top in just about every aspect of his game, whereas most FPO players like have some kind of hole. Like for Kristen, that's, you could argue it's her distance or patent pending or whatever. Like for Holland, it's her putting. But so yeah, we'll see a player that put.
Yeah, I was thinking,
because there's a
where
few
you're
that are
going at
probably just a
first-
putt away.
if you look at MPO players, like realistically, the players who are like Gannon is probably close to the best in a lot of categories.
I think
but he's
Paul
not a
was close to
specialist.
it.
Paul was similar,
Yeah.
where like he had enough distance to compete. Really, where Paul was the best, I think, was probably putting back then. Like he was probably the best putter on the face
His
of the planet.
backhand
But he
was
didn't
the
really
best
have.
as
He
well.
just didn't really have a weak part. Though,
He
'cause his
wasn't really
forehand
as
was good.
Yeah, but I think so. You have complete players, but if you have a complete player, they do have deficiencies in the
Yeah.
fact that they're not the best at every category. Versus you have guys like Isaac Robinson doesn't really have a forehand, but he's able to win because his backhand angle control and
So
his putt when it's
consistent.
on is so good. And like that's true. If you look at a lot of Pro Tour players, or MPO winners, there is areas of their game where it's like, well, that's not complete. But I think what it is like their other side is so dominant when they're on. What we're really seeing is in FPO, it gets really highlighted because you don't have this huge group where AB's on and he's killing it. You might not notice that Isaac Robinson slipped or Ricky slipped or whatever. Oh, now flip it. Gannon Burr's on. Where was AB? You aren't even thinking about it because Gannon Burr's dominating by so much. Versus in FPO, there's only a handful of those players to where when Kristen's not performing, you notice it because it's like there's only 6 players versus in MPO there might be 25.
I think too the weak parts of a lot of the top FPO players' game becomes very noticeable. Like Evelina's weakness is criminal. Like I mean, it's
the putts,
airballing
yeah.
15-foot putts. It's not like
But
you know, it's
she's
not
able
subtle.
to win still just because she's so good compared to the field.
I'm just
throwing.
saying like Isaac. Well, for Isaac, for example, just doesn't even throw forehand.
I think that's the other
so
thing.
You're not
is
even going to see that weakness.
It's more.
on display.
It's a lot easier to cover up. I don't have a forehand than cover up. I don't have an inside the circle putt.
Can't cover that one
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I've been there. Still
I'm
am
still
there. Yeah. Can't.
You're
cover
not
that
there.
one
Let's
up.
not lie. Trevor's not there.
Circle
right now.
one is just
I'm
a stage.
1,000 rated. Right
Trevor's disgusting at putting right now.
Yeah, he is disgusting.
Yeah, we should every day we should have a little whiteboard where we walk in and we write how we feel, like what our rating is, feelings wise. Like, what would you write right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm like 930.
So you're like 930 right now. Connor, what would you write down right now?
Like 8:30.
No shot.
Come on, Connor. Dude.
Well, it is
Well,
feel.
it's
It is
feeling.
feel.
It's feeling.
feel.
I have no perception of what
I think
ratings
I'd write
feels
down
like
like
because
1600.
the only
I would
rating
bet-
I've
Mine's
ever
like a
had
chess elo right
the
now.
only rating I've ever had as a person just did not relate to me at all.
Yeah.
So I have no.
I would
feel.
say right now, I'd say
You could play 900
I feel
golf.
I would
Heck.
say 900 to 920 because like if we go to the right course, I'm scared of you right now.
Ooh.
You could play 900 golf easily. Yeah.
And Trevor's a solid like 980 right now. I'd say maybe 990. Like it's gonna take my absolute best to beat him right now.
Give
And
it a
he's just like,
week.
and then probably 2 weeks from now we'll flip, and I'll be like, oh, I'm feeling like 970 right now, and Trevor will be like, I feel like I'm 850. That's what we do. We swing. We're pendulums. We're
Swing
pendulums.
boys.
swing.
Swing boys.
Swing,
Yin
swing,
and yang. You guys are
swing.
yin and yang.
Yes, sir.
Dips on yang.
Which
Which one's yang?
I don't know. That's what you decided.
Ty Langston, 44, said,
What up, Ty Langston,
what would
44?
Isaac need to do to pass Gannon for Player of the Year? Is it even possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Okay, so what he has?
He'd almost have to win out.
Yeah, so he would need to win USDGC. So
He needs one more major
now
so they're not tied in
if
majors.
he wins USDGC and wins, yeah, he probably.
He needs like at least two
Because
other
the problem
wins.
is if he wins the USDGC and then one of the Pro Tours that's left, it's kind of like you can just be like,
not enough.
It's not quite enough. But if he wins 2 Pro Tours and USDGC, then now we were having a very serious conversation about it.
Scotty
And
Scheffler.
it's gonna. Then I think it becomes very similar to the Calvin versus Isaac of last year. It'd be very interesting.
Scotty Scheffler won 7 times on tour this
He won
year.
$62 million.
$62
Holy
million.
buns.
He got 25 of them during the last event. there,
Who's
but-
he? Is he DGA or?
He's Discraft.
Oh my gosh.
He's Prodigy, but everybody's coming after his plastic.
Oh dang. He's probably gonna move then after winning.
Yeah.
Noah Fields said, should DGPT course designers cater to the top 10 FPO players or to the average of the field?
They probably need to cater to
That's a
the.
good
Well,
question.
they should probably just cater to FPO in general because I feel like they typically don't. But
That's a good question.
from an entertainment standpoint, I've always said that when they cater to the entire field, it makes it more for a more entertaining event. But
Yeah.
for the fairness of disc golf, you really can't do that. You gotta try and push people along and cater to the top echelon of players.
No, I think you have to cater to the top 10 for the future of it.
Yeah.
Because if you
It's not
cater
what I
to
want, but it is what you need to do.
if you cater to the average, then the average is always going to stay the average. If you
not
cater
quite
to the
ethical.
top 10, the average should continue to push up, and it rewards the players who are the best, which then motivates people
Yeah.
to get better.
Good
So
point,
you
Hunt.
got to cater to the top, even if it creates less dramatic disc
know-
golf right now. It hopefully will create a deeper and more dramatic field 10 years from now.
We're almost through the entire season, and I believe it's still true. We have not had a single MPO playoff this entire season.
Crazy.
That is bizarre to me.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all the good ones. No offense to everyone else.
Everybody's
From,
questions were trash.
Yeah, you guys suck.
No, there's a lot of stuff we've already talked about, or like
Oh, got
asking
'em.
us what pro tour event we want to go play, stuff like that. So
I got one. I want to play GMC.
yeah, GMC I think is gonna be a great one.
Man, maybe we should go up there.
We should at some point soon.
Maybe I have an email in my inbox about it.
Maybe he does. Who knows? But that's gonna wrap it up. No Silas selects today because filming on Tuesday means Silas isn't in till 11 because Silas is gonna be here till midnight because tour life.
Because this podcast isn't shortened to the point.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, here we
Point
are.
to the joint.
Important to the joint. So we don't have a Silas Select today. I did have an idea. I'm gonna throw it out there if y'all want to. If
Throw
you
it
want
out
to
there.
sub in a
Toss it
Silas
up.
Select.
Toss it
Okay.
up.
Can I say a merch idea after that?
Okay. Yes. If you want to throw in a Silas Select, none of us have played the disc duel today, so we could all throw one disc out there.
And whoever's and
Not close. It's like
Just-
Silas
oh,
Select.
yeah, just
because
if you
there's
get it.
it's been randomly selected.
Let's just say this: it like it can be its own little game. It's just not Silas Selects.
That's
No,
fine.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, if we want to end with something,
Okay.
we won't spoil the disc duel for everyone unless we get one right.
This is Cyborg Selects. 'cause
We're
it's
just
a fun-
gonna throw each of our guesses in there, and if it's not it, that's it. That way we don't
Yeah.
spoil disc duel for people at home.
Yeah.
Respect.
So
Can we
Okay.
call it Cyborg Selects?
we can call it
Since-
Cyborg
Cyborg
Select.
Selects,
Yeah,
very good. Konner.
I'm gonna go with a Inertia.
Inertia.
That's a really stinking good guess.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. And we don't have to only guess things on our shelves.
I'm going to go with the Wasp.
The
Oh,
Wasp.
that's a great guess,
Yeah,
Trevor.
you bet you like that,
I'm-
didn't you?
I'm
I
going.
like that, didn't I?
I'm going with the time lapse.
Damn. I don't know.
That's a
Hunt.
trash guess.
Frick, guys. Well, here's my thought: is they're not nearly as biased. Well, I can tell you, Connor's wrong.
Dang it!
I'm still in the running.
Time lapse.
I'm still in the running.
Hunter's wrong.
I have a chance.
What was
chance.
yours? Wasp.
Wasp.
Trevor's wrong.
Ah,
Dang, that was electric.
Well,
that was electric though.
My idea for merch or a disc, actually this might be better, is we just run a disc that just says shortened to the point.
Shortened to the point. What would be
That's
the
that's
stamp?
that's like Gripblock's thing, is that we're shortened to the point.
We're
there you go.
one episode
Hunter
into it.
absolutely hated that. He hated
I didn't say
and
anything.
he was out of his mind how much he hates that.
That's not true. I didn't say it.
We've talked so much on this podcast so far about how it's short to the point compared to tour life, and so I thought for the merch thing, it'd be good to
Yeah.
have something that's short to the point.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, the things that we've run for this whole, we ran a Konner horse.
You
That's
said
so
did.
stupid.
We're gonna sell, a Konner horse is one of the. We're gonna sell the frick out of a Konner
I
horse.
know, but
A
it
shirt
was
that just
just
says
like-
short to the point, like that's not even branded.
That's nothing. We've had so many weird things.
Konner horse has your face on.
They ran the one that said lunchbox.
And it didn't sell a single one.
Good point.
Is that what they called us?
Yeah, Yuli
That's really funny.
Yuli couldn't remember the name of our show until the Lunchbox podcast, so they
Yeah.
made me remake our logo to say Lunchbox. And I did it.
And they didn't sell any.
And they didn't sell any.
That's what happens when you try to make fun of
Yeah.
Lunchbox.
Hey, as Dust once told me
Our
before,
logo does kind of look like a lunchbox.
as Dust once told me before I beat him so bad he never showed back up to debate night.
Holy crap.
He said,
Oh, shoot.
"If you come for the king, you best not miss."
Oh!
Obviously, he took that quote from
I
somewhere
believe
else.
that was
but,
Gandhi that said that.
but but hey, Tour Life, if you come for the king, you best not miss. Also, Dustin, you're welcome back on debate night whenever you want to lose again, man.
Oh
Dang
yeah,
it, dude.
And you
This is
cannot
UFC?
buy short and to the point discs or merch on our website. But we'll think more about it.
It's a maybe. It's a maybe. Never say no. Never say never. Never stop dating. We'll talk to you tomorrow for the preview show.